All right, my name is Jada, and I saw a question in a Facebook group the other day that said this. How can I learn to transpose hymns on the spot? I understand the theory. I can write out the hymn note by note and chord by chord in a new key and have practiced so hard to be able to just do it, but something is not connecting. I can sight read advanced music, play in any written key, and embellish anything I have melody and chords for, but don't ask me to change keys without the music. I truly have no ear and fear. This is why I struggle so much to transpose. I've also tried ear training apps, and I'm shockingly inept. Can anyone help? Well, I can help. I want to take this moment to um, play a really not even just play but teach. But I'm gonna show before I go into the teaching what I'm going to get to just on a really basic level and then try to break it down. We're gonna try to do this in about 15 minutes so we don't take up a lot of time for your evening. I'm looking at the clock now so I can see how long I have while I'm doing this. I'm going to play something like Amazing Grace. And then first, I'm going to play it a couple or a few different ways. And then I'm going to go through what I'm thinking about while I'm doing it. Um, that's the first way. That's the most basic way. I almost thinking too hard while doing that. It's almost harder to strip it down. But because I wanted to do other stuff so bad, and that's what a lot of people are thinking about. Let's move on. Okay, that's another way. Now let me go ahead and put just a slight bit more of it one more time. And that's an example of something that could be a little bit more intermediate right there. The first example, it was literally me just playing the melody and the most basic chords. Let's go up one more time, although you could make it even more complicated than this. But let's do it one more time. Now, we can go even more complicated than that, but for the purpose of me explaining and understanding, or because I only played that in one key, let me take the other thought and not exactly the same, but I'm going to go to another key. Let me go to F. Uh, let me see. Uh, Something like that. I'm playing F. I was really trying to think about exactly what I did in another key, but it's because I'm thinking in concepts that I can not only go to another key, but add different creativity in a different key. That was me trying to take the final way in that key. Okay, so I spent a few minutes just taking that to 2 keys. I was in C and I went to F. I could to play this in other keys as well. Here's the thing. This is, and she said transposing hymns on the spot. That is a thought that we don't want to have to sit and consider as far as just transposition. That's literally playing by ear, but the essence of playing by ear is understanding and speaking the language of music. And so that's transposition, but it's not thinking about it in a compositional way per se. It's about thinking about how I can access and use the language in real time. Just like I'm speaking to you right now, we want to do the same thing on the piano. We know our letters, we know our phrases. You don't have to consult a book, you don't have to consult a paper. But what I'm saying to you right now, you're hearing and immediately understanding what I'm saying because you understand the language. The same thing should happen on the piano. And when we understand certain things, we can move forward. So that's what this is about to be explained in the next 10 minutes. Here we go. First of all, when I was in the key of C, let me hit the key of C scale. And then because I was in F for the other one, and I see I didn't even change my little sheet up there from C to F, but I'll try to do it when I go back to F. Here's our scale in the key of C. Really briefly in this lesson, that was the C scale, that was the C major scale. And here it is, the number. I want to give you the numbers right here. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Now I think everybody understands that part of playing by ear, what the numbers are. What's not understood is how important diatonic, understanding the diatonic necessity of what the chords are for the numbers. A lot of times I'll see chord charts or things like that I'll say, and here's the chords, but here's what the chord charts would say. This is 1. This is actually 2. This is 3. This is 4. This is 5. This is 6. This is 7. This is 1. Okay. What you'll see on the chord charts though, they'll say this is any form of C is 1. This could be 2 just because it's chord, or because it's the D chord, but it's the major chord. This is 2 or this is 2. So this could be 2 or this could be 2. That gets confusing for people. Watch what'll happen though. This was 3 or this is 3. We have 4 and then we have 5, we have 6, we have the 7 and we have it back to 1. Now, you'll see that in the book where you can interchange whether it's major or minor. You cannot. This is why this gets confusing for people and why they struggle to transpose hymns in the spot or put songs in other keys because they're not following diatonic understanding. Here's the deal. This is the 1 chord. 1 chord is major. This is the 2 chord. 2 is minor. 3 is minor. 4 is major. 5 is dominant, even though I need to show you an extra note here because this is diatonic. This is the dominant chord. Okay, that's 5. This is 6. This is 7. And 7 or 6 is minor. 7 is diminished. And back to 1, C. Now, here's the deal. When we think about this in diatonic terms, this important understanding, I'm going to go back to the second way I played the song so you can see something that I played. I went to something like this and then I did this. Right? So I'm just showing you the chord. I'm playing a C7. This is not diatonic. Why is it not diatonic? Because a B flat is not found in the key of C. However, here's the key that most people don't tell you. This is free game right here. You can use chords from other keys, but that doesn't mean they're diatonic. But you need to understand where that chord came from. Where does this chord come from? Let me show you where it comes from. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I just showed you the diatonic in the key of C. This is the key of F that I'm showing you right now. Lo and behold, look at what we have. The C, E, G, and the B flat. Is the B flat diatonic in the key of F? Absolutely. That is where this chord comes from. It's coming from the key of F. And then here's the other chords in the key of F. But this is the one we need right now. I played this chord. This happens to be, I played something like this just now. That's the chord I played. Now watch where I'm going. Look at that. I'm going to the F chord, okay? The reason I can use that chord that was diatonic to the key of F, and it made so much sense because even though I'm in the key of C, I'm going to the F chord. What better way to get to the F chord than use the chords from the key of F? I use that same diatonic number system from the key of F that I use diatonically in the key of C to get to my F. So when it's like I have a little bucket, got a little mug in front of me. I'm in the key of C, but in the moment I'm going to the F chord is my bucket. I pull the dominant chord out of the key of F, and I say, "Oh, I'm going to the key of F. Let me pull the chord out of the key of F to put it in the F bucket, but everything around me is still the key of C. Let me use that chord that is in the key of F, go to the F. Once I'm here, I'm back into my diatonic key of C. Okay, that's kind of what's happening mentally in this space. So even though, so, and I just used an extension there to get to my chord or on the C. I think I used something like this just now, the 13th. But let me go back without it. This is what is a dominant chord to go to the F. And then I just did a 7-3-6. Here's a diminished chord. Where'd it come from? Well, same thing. If I think of the key of A, and I am going to use the major scale, even though this is a minor chord. We know in theory purposes, I can show you the minor. That's the minor scale. But in theory, using minor scales, we still make our leading tone the actual leading tone. So thinking about the leading tone where it is, if it were the key of A major, look at the key of A major. Here's our leading tone. We still use that even concept in the key of A minor because we want to use the full 5 chord. You know, that's what we learn in theory already. So I need my leading tone. Well, where did my diminished chord come from? It came from my leading tone. So in that same respect, I'm here. And I just broke it up. See that? And this is a, A minor 7 chord, but I can use it simply as well, the triad. And I'm playing the melody along with it. But here we go. So I'm using my leading tones as diminished chords. I'm using my dominant chords from other keys to get to the chord. And I'm using the melody note to determine what chord is necessary to get in that key. I can do it very simply and leave lots of gaps like here. Right? Or the more intermediate version. And I did this chord right here. Now, this chord is not diatonic either. Where did it come from? You know what? Where are we going? Yes, it did come from the key of G. You see that? Here's our D chord. And so I used it. So it's not that I'm just playing a 2 chord. This, technically and theoretically speaking, is a 5 chord of G. And we would say this is 5 of 5. Now, if it was 2, which works as well, but I need that. Right? I've got that. And that's 2 to 5. But this is 5 of 5. And this is 5 of 4. Same difference. I'm pulling these chords from other keys because they work going to their chord, but I'm also using them in spaces where it matches the melody note already. Okay. And so I got a few minutes left here. So I did that in the key of C. Let me move over to the, this is the one move I wanted to show you. Now watch this. First inversion. first inversion. I just use the 4-chord, first inversion, 5-chord, first inversion, back to my 1. So this is 4, back 4, 5, 1. Okay. Now I could have did that same thing going to my 4. Let's do it real quick. Uh, Here's where I want to do it. Right? I use the 4, 5, 1 to go to F right there. Okay, that's once again me going to the C. Now, here's me transpose because I know my melody notes and I'm using them in the same way. Of course, this is very condensed, much smaller and very sped through way of explaining this. I can go a lot slower, but here we go. Key of F. Oh, let me switch it up. I don't have a. Let me switch up my key so you can see this. Over there. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Give me a few minutes longer and we'll be out of here, okay? Just so I can show you with these two keys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Key of F. Same idea. There's my 5 going to the 4. 5 of 4. There's my 4 chord. Right? Same thing. We use the same idea. Here's the deal. 5 of B flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, look, it's an F chord. Here's my F dominant chord. Okay? Same idea. We'll be going to that new key. So and then I went 7, 3, 6 here. I needed to make this dominant. Right. And here's 4 and 5. 4, 5 to 1. Same concept. Here's my 1. And then I was planning on doing this, but I didn't do it. 5 to 1, and then there's the 4. 7, 3, 6. I think I played this. I think I did something like that. 4, 1. So what do we have with all of that, right? What I'm saying when we're playing, we're transposing on the spot because we understand the power of diatonic chords. But we don't just know the chords in the first key. We know the chords in all 12 keys. We know where our 1 is. We know where our 4 is, no matter the key. Here's 1, here's 4, here's 5, in the key of E, for instance. We know those things. So you need to know your notes. You need to know your chords. But not only that, you need to know how to approach other chords. You need to know how to approach the target chords of your key. And that's what I did. You need to know what your target chords are of your key. That's what I did with the very basic version that I did in C. I only played target chords with the melody. In the intermediate version, I approached target chords with dominant chords and diminished chords. And then I just did more of those things in the last version I did, although there are people that can go even further than that, but all they're doing is expounding upon that even further. Once again, like I said before, I teach this. If you want to have a conversation about it, want to talk about it, if you want to learn more, all those type of things, you can inbox me and all those types of things. You can ask questions in here as well. But this was a very sped through idea where we ran through 2 different keys of how we're processing playing things. So you know the melody, but you know what chords harmonize the melody, and those are your target chords. Once you know your target chords, then you spend a lifetime learning how you want to approach certain chords, how you want to approach certain numbers, getting the voicings that sound best in those instances, and going from there. So this, it was a young lady, as she was saying this, if she can embellish and play in any written key that she has melody and chords for, it's just a process of learning the target chords and learning approach chords in each key without having to see them on the paper, understanding, oh, this is target, oh, this is a transition chord, and going from transition to target, no matter what key that she's in. So, hope this helps. Again, if you have questions, if you want to learn more, if you think, you know what, that might help me. It might help me to not have to rely on sheet music that I may or may not have. It may help me if I'm being able to speak the language as opposed to have to read it in order to access it every time. If I can just hear and have conversation every Sunday morning when I'm playing, I think that would help me speed up my playing. I think it would also help me be more confident. That's what it does for me. When I tell you I've been playing by ears for 25, 26 years now, um, I've not been handed music 10 times in 26 years, not 10. Uh, Not since I learned how to play by ear. I used to only be able to play songs that were in the book, any sheet music, because that was the only thing that I had. But I was like, this is not practical because all songs are not in sheet music form, or it's not giving me the feel or the arrangement that I need in this case. And so I began to learn how to play by ear. I became more confident as a pianist when I could play what was on or what was related to the melody, connected to the melody, but functional for the song and the arrangement. And what if the singer couldn't sing high that day? Now I got to change it on the spot. Being able to do things like that, what's written on the paper is only on one key. So playing by ear has served me much more functionally and confidently over the years. And yes, I do know how to read, but it does not serve me in live situations unless it's orchestral, which I don't play in a lot of those settings. I'm playing in church every week, and there's changes made on the spot all the time. So anyway, hope this helps. You guys take care and be blessed.